Woo!
It's just a little one, just a little one. I can't use the whole thing. I don't want to get sued on our first show.
Woo! Way to get it started, baby. No, it's not an optical illusion.
I'm gonna be in trouble now. Jazz is gonna expect this level of production on sixth ring, and that ain't happening, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, what a way to start it off, baby. What's going on? Welcome to Hitting the Apex. It's an all-new 5 Reasons Sports F1 show. We are so excited. Oscar, we appreciate you. You're the only one on probably right now. We love it. We appreciate
that was a true statement, by the way.
Listen, this is gonna be wild. Listen, forget about that crap, right? We already we talked about this, man. We're excited. Manny Chang, Vish. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for doing this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited to talk F1. We've got, I know you guys, are a wealth of knowledge when it comes to it as well. We're all fans of different teams, which is great as well. So we can kind of smack talk a little bit. We're missing a couple of people. We're missing Moni. We're missing Twitterless Tony. But they'll be back on the show with us next Wednesday. You'll be able to check them out. Make sure you check us out on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Just type it in, subscribe, and go ahead and check us out on Twitter as well at F1_5 Reasons, or you can just search Hitting the Apex, and you'll be able to find us on there as well. So we're really excited again. New season 2022 is upon us. Listen, the last couple of seasons have been kind of crazy with COVID, new regulations this year. So we'll talk about all that stuff. We'll talk about Bahrain coming up in just T-minus 30 hours right now. So as everybody, and we got a surprise visitor back there behind Manny, a little cat action.
I'm surprised. I thought that was Wolf for a second. I'm like, not yet.
But listen, man, we actually got a lot to talk about. We'll make some bold predictions, I think, at the end of the show as well. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to that. What do we want to start off with there, Manny? Let's get it cranking, man. Bahrain, right? Bahrain.
Yeah, I mean, let's get right into it. So I think for each show, to preview just the track coming up, just a little bit of history, I think is always well to kind of get us in the mood or in the zone per se. So a little bit of history for Bahrain. The first ever race ever held there was in 2004. So obviously from then and now, they've had races there 17 times. It is well known as the Gulf Air Grand Prix. Obviously for sponsorship reasons. Let me see. The first race was taking place on April 4th, 2004. So it's a location that Formula One has seen, and for them it's worked. Obviously, the first race was held in 2004, and the laps have always been the same, stuck at 57. The length is 3.363 miles. The driver that's won the most there has been Lewis Hamilton with 5 so far. And like I previously said, the race has been held there 17 times. So it just feels, I guess it's a low. I'm not sure if it's always been like the first race there, because I think the last couple of seasons, the first race has been in Australia, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, so it's switched back and forth. It's been Australia. They haven't done Australia because of COVID. So
Oscar, relax, bro. Relax.
Yeah, my boy Oscar. Me and Oscar are already gonna get along.
By the way, Jazz and Oscar are listen. For those who don't know, I'm a Mercedes guy, but I did pick a specific Ferrari driver to win it this year. That's going to be up to the end. But yeah, no.
Go ahead, dude. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good, man. Just have fun, man. This is how it's gonna be. This is gonna be a free for all, man. You can go to Formula1.com and get your serious British analysis. We're gonna have fun, man. That's what this show's for.
So that's about it, guys. Not so much.
So the one thing, Bahrain did not used to be at night. And that race used to be terrible. It would be in the middle of the day, and actually the cars could not follow and pass there. And then when they got to the turbo hybrid track now, with the newer cars, which are now the old cars, that was when the track came alive. This used to be considered like one of the worst races. It was boring. You couldn't overtake. And then when they went to the new cars, which are now old cars, it became one of the better tracks. So I'm curious to see how it plays now with. We don't know what these cars are going to look, how they're going to drive around here. And Formula One's so track dependent in terms of whether you can overtake, like how close you can follow. So this is a track that's kind of switched over time. Everyone used to be like, this is the worst race on the calendar. And then now it was widely considered one of the better tracks. So Should be exciting though.
Last year's race was kind of exciting, right? Up until the end, there was a little back and forth with Max and Hamilton, and I think Max tried to overtake at one point, and well, he actually did, but he went off the track, so he had to let Hamilton get back in front of him. So that was kind of interesting. It was pretty exciting to see that. We can probably expect a lot of the same this year, maybe with some new guys coming in and throwing their name in the ring for competition, competing for the podium this year. So it's going to be pretty exciting. And with the like you mentioned, Vish, with the new regulations and everything that's going on with the cars, with the new old cars. I know there's been some talk when they were practicing a little bit of some new things, and I actually want to one of the regulations I definitely or one of the new rule changes I definitely want to get Manny's opinion on it. But not yet. Right? Not yet. But I think one of the things, right, that a lot of the drivers are talking about is this porpoising. Did I say that right? Yeah, porpoising, right? So talk to us a little bit about that, like how that's going to affect the car's I guess stability and also the way that just speed and everything, downforce, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so what porpoising is, so basically the big change to these cars is, the problem with the old cars is it was so aerodynamic dependent that you could be significantly faster than the car in front of you, but you couldn't really get close because the wake coming off the car would disrupt your car, which killed your aero. So you'd be like doing a second a lap faster, then you get within like 2 seconds of the car in front of you, and all of a sudden you can't drive anymore. So they if you look at the cars now, they're much simpler aerodynamically. They're a lot flatter on the wings, so it's less aero dependent. So the way they compensate for that was introducing something that used to be really popular in F1 and kind of went away, called ground effects, which is essentially using the design of the car.
Put it up. Manny, put it up if you can. Oh,
he's got it up there. They're showing the bottom.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, they're showing the bottom. But it basically sucks the car to the ground, and that's where you get your grip from. So rather than like the winglets, and you look at how much simpler the wings are. They used to be like, you complicated this, that, and they're much simpler now. So that should, in theory, allow you to follow much closer. We get better racing because it's your own car kind of creating its own downforce. The problem with that is when it overcompensates and it sucks your car down, it starts scraping the ground, and then starts bouncing up and down on the suspension. That's what porpoising is. Right. Yeah, it's when it, now that it's so reliant on ground effects, the car actually, if you overdo it, you got to find the exact right balance where it's sticking to the ground but not actually hitting it, causing it to. If you think about just like a spring, once it starts going, you just start bouncing.
Right.
And so that, like, how they get that under control is kind of the first big challenge in these new designs. How do they hit that right balance where they're getting the maximum amount? Because you can always, one thing they say, you can raise the ride height and you won't have porpoising, but then you lose that downforce. So the car is slower. So it's kind of finding that right balance, like exactly how do I get this car so that I can get the maximum ground effects without the porpoising, and that's kind of the challenge all these teams are facing.
Yeah, and then also just one real quick thing. We know that the majority of takeovers that happen, and they normally happen on sharp turns, wide turns. You decide to go over that red and white strip with this whole purposing thing or whatever the case is, you can actually damage your vehicle. You probably can even just lift yourself just a little bit. By the time you land, your tire can get punctured, your whole steering suspension system can go to shit. Excuse my English. It's just one of those things that every team, listen, in all honesty, I've always seen that, especially in this sport that we love, it takes about maybe 5 to 6 races for you to really understand your new vehicle. Not maybe for the Mercedes and for McLaren and for Ferrari, but for everybody else down the line, especially when, this whole now new technology, right? Not only is this new, the sizes of the wheels and the rims are way different. I believe I read where the cars now are more heavier, right? So it's a much harder landing. It's not as light as it once was. So, with 10 less laps or so, it's going to be a risk if you're not really understanding yet how your car works when it comes to these things, because you can actually be in the top 3 and one bad jump, man, you're going to be in the back of the pack. And I think, for, I guess, the teams behind, like the ones I just mentioned, Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren, et cetera, this is just something else now that they have to worry about, because I have no doubt that the top teams will figure it out. Obviously, they have the money, they have the technology, they have the people behind the scenes to make it work. All this crap talk that Mercedes has I mean, issues with the camera in the back because of the porpoising, whatever. Listen, that shit is going to be figured out regardless. I'm just worried about the rest of the teams that not only do they have to worry about the front of the line, but now they have to worry about this new type of thing, because again, the top teams have the money and have, you know, the technology and whatnot to figure it out. Do they do it? I don't know. Ask Williams Racing if they know yet what the hell they're doing. So,
well, and I think that what's going to make it interesting also is the new front and the rear wings, right? And how they've kind of modified that so that there's less dirty air, right? If I'm not mistaken, so which is going to allow for a lot of these drivers, well, a lot of the just the cars in general to follow closer, to be able to make to make cleaner moves per se. But it also ties in the tires. And I know you guys were talking about the tires. They've gotten larger, right? And larger 18-inch tires now. And you said it's a closed rim now? Closed rim?
Yeah.
Let me find a picture.
Yeah, so yeah, man, you can probably pull a picture up. But everything on an F1 car, regardless of what it is an aerodynamic device. So
Absolutely.
one of the things that the old tire was smaller, but it was also you could have an open rim, and so Mercedes, because they're Mercedes, perfected the way to like you turn that into an aerodynamic device where they would get a lot of downforce off their tires, and it would also cool their brake ducts, because you don't want to put a big radiator on these cars because it's heavy. So how do we get cool air through it? So they've closed the rims off now, so that whole thing is gone. Like air is not going to flow into the tire. And the tires are bigger, so big factor I feel, especially in Bahrain. I think it'll mitigate down the road is how are they even going to manage these tires? It's a big thing in Formula One is, you know, when do I make my pit stop? What's the maximum I can get out of this tire? How hard can I push without shredding it? They've done testing. They have not done it in a race situation. I think we could see some crap and yeah, there you go. And then
Vish, that is a huge difference.
Yeah, no, it's the tires are much bigger, but actually that's not even the rim. That rim is open. That is not what the rims look like.
That's the rim I use on my dunk, baby.
Yeah, that does show the tire size different. I think that was from Pirelli. The rims are not allowed to have airflow in them anymore. If you look,
off, right?
yeah, they're closed off, which impacts the aerodynamics. Again, Jazz touched on this earlier. The whole thing about limiting wake off the car in front of you, all of these winglets and holes in the rims and all, gives the car an advantage and puts a horrible wake in behind it. So they've kind of just said, no, we're closing that off. We're taking the side pods. Yeah, there you go. We're taking the side pods off, and damn, DJ.
Yeah, baby.
Look at this. All right, so I interrupted myself, and Danny Gillette, who's one of our co-hosts on the Six Ring Show, came in and dropped a $10 on us. So
$10 dono, baby.
Thanks, DJ. And also, I see Gary in the chat. We got a couple of Six Ring people that migrated over.
So this winglet, right? I'm reading here a little bit. They help direct air away from the rear wing as well, right?
Yeah. So what happens is they do everything in a wind tunnel, which is like ideal conditions, and then the car in front basically has those conditions. The car behind it deal with the wake off of it. So most of the design changes were designed to limit that wake, but they don't want these to just be slow cars. Like that's where the speed comes from. So that's where the ground effects comes in. So definitely the tires will be a big difference in terms of wear.
I'm hearing that they may have to go in twice, maybe even 3 times for a tire change.
They don't know. They don't know. It's a different tire. It's a different compound. When they first, Bridgestone used to be the tire manufacturer,
right?
And they would build tires that would last the entire race, like they would not wear out. So when Pirelli came in, the FIA told them, that's not interesting. Like we want to be strategic. So they were tasked with actually making tires that are bad. That's why they wear out so easily. They're not building the best tire they can. Pirelli could easily build a tire that would last the whole race. Right. They're intentionally doing it so it wears. But it took them a while to dial that in on the old tires. There were several years where it's like you're doing 3 pit stops because this tire won't last. And they got it finally, I think, to the right balance, the last few years where it's been good, right? You do have to kind of make that choice. When do I come in for this tire? Is it going to last? And it was on an edge, right? They finally got it kind of correctly dialed in where it's not an obvious choice or you're not pitting 4 or 5 times because the tires are just crap. They finally got, and now there's new tires. So it's kind of like start over. So we might see, we don't know what we're going to see tire wear wise. And also just on the pit stop itself, different rims, that's a different pit stop. Someone who's going to screw up their pit stop in Bahrain other than Haas, who always does that.
So with that.
Yeah.
By the way, I actually started rewatching going back to season 1, and that's the only thing that I remember was it was the same tire.
Haas screwing up a
it was
box.
the same dude twice, bro. The same guy twice, and he's looking at what the hell's his name?
Gunter.
Yes, but he's looking at him like,
Listen, that's the best part. That's the best part of them screwing up is watching Gunter's expressions. Those are the best. Okay,
Yeah,
those are absolutely
for real.
Speaking of Gunter, Manny, because I think we have to touch on, maybe one of the last rules or regulations that have been changed here, and I kind of want to get your take on this this rule that was specifically made for the boys over in it feels like the boys over in Red Bull. This change of the lap cars overtaking the safety car and whatnot. Talk to me a little bit about that rule change and how do you feel? How do you feel?
Well, it doesn't change the fact, or it doesn't hurt. Like, am I still frustrated heading back 3 months ago? Absolutely. But after looking at this report that came out yesterday, I'm like, oh, it's so fitting for the FIA to finally make a rule change. What is it? 30 hours before our first race of the season, right? So is that supposed to let me know that maybe Mercedes is going to get the upper hand? Hey, I don't know.
But according to Hamilton, Mercedes is not going to compete this year for the
listen. That's all strategic, right? Listen. By the way, all you damn racing fake ass fans that are actually criticizing him for him wanting to change his last name to represent his mother are just pure asinine individuals.
Get over it. Yeah, get over it.
It's just insane. Okay, sorry. Next topic. How do I feel?
I'm more worried about
the
shirt he's going to wear.
Huh? What?
I'm more worried about the shirt he's going to wear.
Listen, you need to worry about how many freaking podiums he's going to have in first place, my friend. That's what you got to worry about. Payback year, all right? Payback. How do I feel? I don't think this does anything for me. This was just, what type of reaction was, if you're not a Red Bull fan or the Red Bull team, you're looking at this and like, I don't care. Like, I got the championship, right? I don't really care. For everybody else down the line, you're like, well, you waited this long to actually say something, and yet you actually prevented any type of reaction when it first happened. And now it's when a player does something wrong and it's not yet reported, but it's reported 4 months down the line. We already moved past that.
It's right? Like, I'm sorry I got caught, basically.
Yeah, well, it's like, listen, I know we were wrong. We're going to change the wording.
It's not even like changing the wording though, because everyone knew what it meant at the time. Like, this is to your point, man. This is BS. Like, no one thought any didn't mean all. In fact, 2 years ago, they got criticized for leaving the safety car out so long, and was like, why did we have to fall behind the safety car? And FIA released a statement saying, we all know the regulation. All cars have to pass the safety car and catch back up before we can restart. And that's why Toto Wolff was like, I've got it in writing from them. And then what happened is Michael Massey cracked under the pressure and broke the rules. And they don't need to change the language in the rule to pretend like there was some kind of justification for that. No rule allows you to just move a few cars out of the way and immediately restart the race. It's black and white. Correct. Like, you had two choices. You can not move any of the lapped cars. That it was allowed. If he wanted to restart the race, he could have left all the cars in the way and pulled the safety car in. That was allowed. If you let one car go, you have to let them all go. No. He didn't do that. No. And Red Bull saying any doesn't mean all was just because there's no justification.
Right.
Yeah.
For what he did, and they didn't want to change the championship result, so they upheld it. And they're up, even when they're upholding it, they were kind of like, he can kind of do whatever he wants, which is not the rule, and he's been fired. And yeah, Fernando's exactly right. They were just trying to set up this shootout thing, and as an F1 fan for a long time, the reason I was so frustrated, I certainly wanted, I'm a McLaren fan. Hamilton came from McLaren. I want him to win. If it's McLaren versus Hamilton, I want McLaren to win. But if it's an ex-McLaren driver who came through our whole junior program, won the last championship we'll probably ever win at this point, then I want him to be successful. But for the same sport that disqualified him from qualifying because one piece of his wing was a millimeter open, threw Vettel out of a race in second because they couldn't pull a fuel sample. And we're always told this is a technical sport, black and white, rules are rules. To go, he can do whatever he wants. Wasn't that fun? I'm just like, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was exciting. You ruined it. Everyone would have been fine. Everyone would have been fine if they're just like, there's
we all knew, right? We all knew that the minute that happened, we're all watching, we're like, oh, God.
But I don't think anyone would have complained if they said there was no time to move the lap cars, Hamilton won. Right. Because he had been better the entire race. He had been faster. He took that thing. He took that thing. And I don't think anyone would say that's an unfair result.
Mitch, this is what happened. Massey got a radio call that said Max Verstappen has new tires. Let's make it. Let's make it exciting.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, but not just that though. The worst part of it was that he knew the rules. That's why the original. I mean, you could see him melting down on the FIA messages. No lapped cars are allowed to overtake. The reason he said that is he knew I gotta go around at least one more time, and the safety car cannot go in immediately. The only way we can get a green lap is if I don't let the cars go. Because if I let the cars go, there's no time for the safety car to go all the way around. I can't restart the race. So if he tries to let the lap cars go, the race is over. They're going to have to finish under safety car. So that's why he originally said we cannot let the lap cars go. If we leave them where they are, we are allowed to restart the race. That's what the rule says. He gets two choices there. And then Red Bull...
If you leave them there, Hamilton wins.
Yeah, there's no way Max is going to get around all the lap cars and pass Hamilton. So basically Hamilton... Right. And then you could see, because the radio communication came out earlier, the Red Bull guy is actually the one who told him, actually, if you just move those cars out of the way, we can go racing. That's not legal. And he did it. And it's like so crazy that he actually did it. He knew what the rule was because he was enforcing it. And then at the end of the race, we talked to Toto Wolff, and Toto Wolff was like, what the F did you just do? You can't do that. He's like, it's called racing. He was quoting the Red Bull guy to Toto Wolff. I mean, it was insane, like, what happened. So everyone knew it was wrong. But also, the problem is, Max was fantastic all year. Now that you've done this, you're getting there at the end of the race. What do? You're going to take his title? I mean, you can't do that either. Right. It's screwed up, right? You want to go back, you want to get in a time machine and be like, pretend we didn't mess this ruling up. But once you've done it, now he's won the title. Like, you don't want to take that away either. And he's a worthy champion. He was awesome last year, too. That's why they just ruined whoever won. As long as it was merit-based, like, that was great and they deserved it. And he just broke it. He freaking broke it to exactly what Fernando said. They wanted that shootout, that one-lap shootout. F1 is not about a one-lap shootout. I'm sorry, it's not. And it was... But I don't think... There was nothing they could do. Like, what were you going to do? Take the title away and be like, no. Which is why Mercedes eventually backed off. They're like... This ends with them saying, best case, yes, we screwed up. We'll disqualify the result. The race doesn't count, and then they still lose. So like, there's just there was no good outcome for them.
By the way, Vish, if there's one driver that would have gladly seen Max getting stripped of the title, was definitely Ricardo. That's probably one guy. That's the only one. Take the title away. No.
Which the one thing, and I'm gonna leave this subject here after this because I mean this is all last season. I'm excited for this season. But the last thing I will say is the one thing you could tell you knew was crap too was they get all the radio messages from the drivers and they were all in their car. What the hell is going on? They can't do that. You hear signs on there. This isn't fair. How come I have lap cars in front of me? I'm in third. I want to try and pass Max. You left cars in front of me, and his got moved out of the way, and you could just see them. You heard Norris. All these... George Russell came out and was like, this is a travesty, but he's a Mercedes driver, so that doesn't really count. But all these drivers just live on their pit, talking to their radio hosts, be like, this is illegal. What are they doing? You can't do that. Like, all the drivers, other than, like, the Red Bull ones, were like...
Of course. Shocker.
This is crap. Like, you can't do this. Like, I've read the rule book. You cannot just move the cars out of Max's way and then just start the race. Like, what are you doing? So you could kind of see, and they knew it was wrong. That's why, I mean, they fired Michael Massey. Like, what do you think? Do you think it was the correct ruling now? Of course not, but that's fine. Let's move on to the fun stuff of this year.
By the way, before we go into it, I have something to say. A quick little story here about Fernando Tapia, who happens to be a good buddy of mine. He was my college roommate when we went to school together, and we lived off campus. And if there's anybody that's here right now on the show watching or hosting the show, one of us, Fernando would have been a hell of an F1 driver. because there's times when we used to come back home from living off campus and he had a little Civic SI, and he'll know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. This MFer, you stop it, Ali. This MFer here, Fernando, would do about 125 on the 112 on the way home. I've never seen anybody drive like Fernando Tapia, and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This little Civic SI. He almost made me crap my pants at least 20 times in my entire life. The blue Civic SI. You know exactly what I'm talking about, bro. Unbelievable. That guy was a hell of an F1 driver in his day. This guy right here, son of a gun.
May I say just one more thing on this topic and we'll move on? It could have been Mercedes that got screwed. It could have been Ferrari. It could have been any of the teams.
Yeah.
It's not about, Mercedes, they're being a bunch of crybabies. Any other team in that situation, I would have been behind their backs arguing as well. This is a sport that is loved all over the world. And for this type of situation happen on the final lap, on the final race, that it basically dictated who was going to lift the trophy. It shouldn't happen, man. It's like the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you kidding me here? Like the Super Bowl, there's 1,000 plays, right? Of course, we're gonna nick and pick on the first quarter. He did this.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that comparing apples to apples, though? I don't know.
Well, so the problem. So couple of things here. Gus said in the chat, and Manny showed it up that Max
it's not Honda racing anymore, Gus.
Yeah, it's not Honda. It's technically a Red Bull badge, but no, he's 100% right. Like Max is a worthy champion, and he shouldn't have an asterisk. He didn't. He did not. That's crap, man. I gotta tell you, Alejandro.
You don't even drink Red Bull.
Well, but also just I'll say a couple of things. One is Max is a worthy champion. There shouldn't be an asterisk there. He doesn't make the rules. You expect the race director to enforce the rules and tell him sorry, and that be done. What was he supposed to do? Not pass Hamilton? He should have. I mean, what the hell are you talking? He passed him on track. He earned that championship. It's just unfortunate it happened that way.
I am not blaming Max, though, Vish. I'm not blaming Max.
No, but I mean, when Gus was talking about like it's stupid, people view it as an asterisk. I actually agree with that. I thought the whole thing was a farce, but Max did what he was supposed to do, which is, hey, there's a car in front of me, I'm passing that guy, and I'm winning my championship, and he did that, and he earned that. I think the problem I have with comparing it to other penalties is, we can all disagree on penalties. I think both Mercedes and Red Bull spent the entire year whining about how it was unfair, right? But at no point did they enforce a rule illegally, right? Like, you're like, that should have been a 20-second penalty instead of 10 seconds or whatever. You could still justify the other penalty, the 10 seconds, the 5, whatever it was, even if you're like, that's not fair, he should have gotten it harder, or he shouldn't have gotten that penalty. It was still within the rules to do it. This safety car stuff was illegal. Like, you can't. It was black and white in the rule books. You have to let all the cars lap. Yeah, it's not a penalty. Like, that was just not in the rule book.
Right.
So that's why it's different than the other stuff. Like, it would be like giving someone a 5th down in a football game after they called holding when it wasn't holding. Like, calling holding was wrong.
That did happen. Vince.
Yeah, 1990, Colorado won the championship because of it. I know. That's crap. That's not the same thing as blowing like a face mask call, right? That's inventing a rule that doesn't exist. Yeah, no, Alex is absolutely right. If the roles were reversed, Hamilton would have been like Team LH. So it's just like, whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. I'm glad Massey's gone. We can now I think we can close the chapter on this, move forward. The season's going to be exciting. New cars and everything. So, but yeah, it was unfortunate it ended that way, but they fired his ass, and hopefully we don't see stuff like this again, where like the politicking gets in the way of the driving.
So I think let's kind of move on before we get to the 2022 outlook, because I guess we'll tie that in to our predictions. I mean, speaking of cars, speaking of the new regulations, new cars, right? New liveries, everything is kind of new. How do you guys feel about, everybody's kind of new model, new take on the cars? I love them. I think a lot of them were really clean, looked really aggressive, looked really fresh. Obviously, the Pepto-Bismol car was probably not anybody's favorite, the Alpine car, or as the British would say, the Alpine car.
You mean the Racing Point? Yeah. It's the same damn car.
The Racing Point, right? The Racing Point car. How do you guys feel? Like, I obviously have a couple favorites as well, but what's your guys' favorite new livery?
I'm gonna stick with my boys in Mercedes. I think bringing back the silver
bullet.
Yeah, I think
right.
I think it's
it's Silver Arrow.
Especially
Silver
seeing
Arrow?
the way that now that the new tires are, where they, what I'm saying, it's a much smaller rim, so obviously having any type of nice looking wheels is not gonna really matter. Again, I don't know why you'd want Pepto Bismol.
I don't know. They're not going to use that all the time, though,
Well,
right?
I mean,
No, that is their livery. It's the same as the one that was Racing Point because it's that BWT sponsorship that they got. Like that's the color. But I have heard arguments for that. So when it was Force India at the time, went to the pink car. They're like, "What are you doing? It looks atrocious." Yeah. It gets you on TV. The sponsors need to be on TV. If you're in Mercedes, you're on TV all the time. That's where the big bucks come from.
Makes sense.
And so if you put a pink car, it pops. And when they do long shots and all, they see the sponsor, and that's why they do the ugly cars. So I don't think they even think it looks good. So if you're asking our opinion, it looks like ass.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Alex, Alfa Romeo's Camo livery. That was I think that they were just using that for testing. I don't think they're going to use that in the season, right?
I'm gonna pull up the cars now.
I don't think that. Although their other design is really nice.
That's the
Alpha.
Alpha.
That is really sweet. I like it.
Yeah, that's the Alpha. Yeah.
That's a really clean look. I mean,
AlphaTauri.
the AlphaTauri is one of my favorites. If you ask me, that AlphaTauri look is pretty sweet because it's got that matte look. But it's really sweet. But I think that some of the more aggressive, like McLaren's papaya.
Man, watch yourselves. Do not be criticizing.
Papaya, it's actually pretty slick. The only thing I don't like that it's orange. And blue.
Said watch yourself.
Just be careful, man. Be careful.
It's orange and blue, blah, but that papaya color is pretty sick. The Aston Martin is clean. I love that Aston Martin.
I mean, listen, the Ferrari's classic, though, right?
The Ferrari's always got the red.
Yeah. When I look at Ferrari, for some reason, I think of Manchester United because that's all they wear.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and they used to be good, and they're not anymore. Yeah, it's probably right.
All right, buddy.
All right, and here's nobody.
You're still staring up at us, okay? Get that right. You're still staring up at us.
So no matter how many years Haas decides to change their colorways and stuff, as long as they don't forget to put their left nut on their tire.
They're the most non-American team. It's unbelievable.
Is that still the car? Are they running that color? No, they changed it, right?
No, that's it. That's it right there.
Yeah,
I thought they took off the Russian colors.
Oh, they took off the sponsorship, but it's still red, white, and blue.
Wait, keep scrolling. I thought they pulled it off because it's not. Yeah, isn't that? Yeah. Because that was all because they were basically their car was painted like the Russian flag.
I thought it was.
No, they got that Euro Collie or whatever the hell you call it, money and Mazepan in there, and they just like painted. Apparently, that like I think the original plan was to actually sell the team to that oligarch, but obviously not now. Okay, come on. That's the one.
Can Lando win a couple podiums?
That is the one.
That is
the one.
That is it, man. That is it.
I do like the blue though, bitch.
The blue is different blue now. So they got away from. They went to the sky blue, which we're okay with. The dark blue, no. But the sky blue, yeah, it's fine.
Oh, here we go, baby.
I mean, all right, that is
my beauty.
That is a okay.
I liked it in black better.
Sucker.
I like it in black.
Oh, nobody's favorite team. Let's just
Moni's not here till next week, so let's get our Red Bull shots in now. When she comes in, we gotta be a little nicer.
By the way, for those that don't know, Moni's team is Red Bull.
Yeah, I know. So we get to insult them this week when she's not here to defend them.
Tony's a Mercedes McLaren guy, so
Williams,
he's
nothing changes with them.
Williams is all right. It's whatever.
So I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling the McLaren now even more.
I like the McLaren. It is
overhead shot. La Papaya.
I'll go with McLaren, AlphaTauri. I like Ferraris just because it still looks clean. But
Fernando, be nice, Fernando. What's wrong with you, bro?
Russian fertilizer. No, that's fine. Hey, listen, we'll take that. Hell yeah. I mean, that's what.
Let's see.
I mean, that Haas. It's just a mess, man. Those guys are just a mess, and I feel bad for Gunther because I love him. I think he's an absolute trip. So I'm pretty interested. I haven't started seeing, by the way, season 4. I don't know, Vish. I know you don't even want to watch it.
I can't. I don't want to go back. I've been watching the sport for a long time. The way that season ended, I can't stomach it.
I'm in season 3, episode 1.
And I blame the show for it. They wanted to set up drama for the show. It's what I've convinced myself, even though that's garbage.
Okay, let's get right to it.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, this
Power
is a
rankings.
great question, Alex. How do you feel about what is it? How do you feel about power rankings that came out? Ferrari at number 2. I don't know if you can pull up those power rankings, but I think
I am doing that right now.
it's Red Bull 1, right?
Were just released 13 hours ago. So yeah,
Yeah.
we are going to start at number 10. So just we could go down one by one.
But do we really have to? Because we kind of know.
Damn, you're making fun of Williams, bro.
God, man, what are you,
Williams.
Michael Master? You're gonna pretend the rest of the field doesn't exist and just focus at the top?
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree with Alfa Romeo at number 9.
All right, we're gonna start at 7.
No, let's start at number 9.
Let's go at the back, man. What are we talking about?
Come on, start at the back.
These are the guys that are gonna get in the way of the cars in the front. And they'll be like, "This asshole's not moving, and he's slowing me down." Come on, we gotta know who's back there.
I don't even know who's racing for Williams. I mean, for crying out loud, it's unbelievable. Season 4 is super different. Yeah, that's what I hear. So I can't wait to get it going. I don't even know who's racing for. I gotta expand.
Oh
this
yeah,
little
so
bit.
I have it here as well.
It's
So
still Latifi.
Oh, Latifi. Okay.
And God, who replaced? I should know this.
Williams, Latifi, and Albon.
Oh yeah, they took Albon from Red Bull.
That's right. That's right.
The Toros Racing, however you call that, right?
Toro Rosso.
Yeah, but Albon had not.
I
gone
totally
back to-
forgot that Albon actually had a seat in Red Bull for 2020, and then he just fucked up, right?
Yeah, everyone that's been in that seat has been kind of.
him,
Oh, I'm telling you,
Gasly,
Max Verstappen presence fucks everybody up, man. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, Ricardo was fine. He left, but everyone else has been like spot. They keep trying. They use their young driver program to try and fill the second seat, and it's just no. So
All right, we're gonna move down for
So,
Williams.
yeah, so number 9, I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, look, I know Valtteri was, number 2,
Valtteri
obviously,
Bottas
but
and
I mean, he's a hell of a driver, so I don't know. And they got a new driver, right? Is that the
yeah, Jazz, you get to say it. We joked about this ahead of time. Go for it, man.
Juan Yuzu?
Well, it's not bad, man.
Not
That's
bad,
all
right?
I think it might be like Z or something, but
Yeah.
like it was good. It was good. You didn't call him Smith. I'm impressed.
That would have been awesome, though.
All right, moving on to number 8.
Number 8, Haas. I figured they would be number 9, honestly.
Well, so Haas has been looking okay in testing. I mean,
Well, do you
I
think
don't know.
do you think adding Magnussen now kind of helped out a little bit?
It'll definitely help their overall performance in terms of getting consistency. They got Schumacher there as well, obviously, who's probably quicker than Magnussen, but might not be as consistent. Mazepin did not belong in Formula One. Forget the Russian stuff. He sucks.
Mascarpone?
So
Yeah.
when
I
you're
think
trying to
so-
develop your car, having someone that can't drive it is just kills you. So
And
I
I
think
think
having
all-
Magnussen will help a lot.
And I think also that the years where Haas has had a good car, they just have bad luck when it comes to not being able to do stuff right in the pits. And then that affects everything else. And then, like, if you look back at season 1 and 2 in particular, they just end up getting hit. And then they get knocked out of the race in the first lap because their drivers were always so damn aggressive every single time. It's like, just let the field form. Don't get into bad positions, and then they always get hit in the back, or the wing comes off, or the tire gets punctured, and then that's it, basically, right? There's nothing more to it. But no, I think Vish, that's a great point. I think Magnussen, he creates that type of consistency where you kind of feel much better knowing that he's not going to wreck. He's trying to get himself into position to at least finish, top.
Well, he's familiar. He's familiar with Haas, so I mean,
Yeah, but it's just giving input. Like, this car is not going to be like great or anything, but giving input back to the engineers.
For him driving, it's gonna help definitely.
Yeah, no, definitely. You get more laps in because he's not spinning it and wrecking it. He gives you better feedback to the engineers that gotta like take that in and be like, in this corner it's slow because of this, and they can make adjustments. Like, you can't get that from Mazepin. He doesn't know what he's doing. So it will definitely help their development.
They had freight delays because of
The cars didn't show. That all happened at the same time. They fired Mazepin, and like all of a sudden the equipment didn't show up. They did let them make it up though, because they let them like kind of run off hours so they could have the lap time.
AlphaTauri.
I like this team, man. I like Gasly. I think he's really talented. Sonoda's not bad. I mean, he's all right, but Gasly's a hell of a driver. So,
whatever. I mean, he's another one that kind of got pushed out of Red Bull after not performing there. But
I think what we saw in the show really doesn't represent.
He ended up going back to AlphaTauri and winning a race there. So I mean, he's obviously got talent.
He won in front of friggin' Red Bull because Hamilton got called for the penalty.
Yeah, they brought him into the pits when the pit lane was closed.
Yeah, or he sideswiped.
No, this was the one where it was Leclerc who crashed right by the pit lane, or someone stopped by the pit lane. Leclerc crashed, and then someone stopped by the pit lane, and Mercedes pitted Hamilton when the pit was closed, which is like you got a 10-second stop go or whatever, so you had to go to the back of the grid. Tsunoda starts with a T, I think, but I don't know, it's a Japanese name, but I do wonder how this AlphaTauri has kind of been a better team the last few years. There's no way the Red Bull team put money into developing this car in relation to what they were doing with Red Bull. I think it's going to be slow.
And Vish, they also finished 6th last year.
I think they're going to be bad. I think 7 feels right because I think the other teams all developed their own car and they're just getting spare parts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Aston Martin, ladies and gentlemen, how we feel?
It's Vettel and Ocon, right? Is it Ocon? Stroll.
Vettel
Sorry,
Stroll.
Stroll. I mean, obviously Vettel is a shell of what he once was, but he can still race a little bit, man. He can still drive. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Stroll. I think he sucks, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's daddy's money, right?
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to give the kid any disrespect. And he does say on the show 3-4 times, well, nothing's been given to me.
Yeah, right.
And it's hard for me to believe that.
Everything's been given to you guys.
So you have basically a guy that's been in it for a long time versus a youngster still trying to find his way into the sport. It's, to me, Aston Martin's in a position where if they get points, it's great. If they don't get points, I think it's going to be because of the drivers themselves. I don't see them doing anything.
So the thing with Stroll is he's okay. There's been worse pay drivers like Mazepin, for example, could not keep the car on the track. So he's okay, but I think the one huge advantage he has is anyone with his performances would not have had the opportunity to improve. They would have thrown him out. And so he's okay. He's okay, but his biggest advantage was he didn't get fired when he was learning. So many young drivers, they give him they give him a half a season or a season. If they don't immediately hit the ground running, get tossed out. He got like 3 seasons to get to okay.
I think this comment is spot on. That'll always have a few good races a year, but that's about it. And I think that's when Stroll, I think if he's ever going to create an impact, I think now is his time. Not saying that Vettel is not, a high quality name or a race driver.
Yeah, but he's not the same.
But if Stroll ever had an opportunity to create a name for himself, I think this year is it. It has to be it because I don't know how many more times he might stay in Formula One for years and never be on the damn podium.
This is why I think AlphaTauri, whether it's a slower car than Aston Martin or not, I just think they have better drivers, right? I think that Gasly is the best of the bunch, period. But I just think that those two together, him and Tsunoda, are better than Vettel and Stroll together. I just don't think Stroll's that good.
There is a Mercedes engine in that Austin, so.
Sometimes it's not about the engine, my friend. It's about the driver.
Well, we saw that a lot, right?
I mean, there's a Mercedes in the Williams too.
Speaking of driver, this is why I think Alpine is up there. This is why I think Pepto Bismol is up there. I mean, it's hard to go. I mean, Fernando Alonso, with as much as we probably don't like him at this point now, still a hell of a driver, and Ocon is as well. So I like this number 5.
I feel like in some point this season, Ocon is going to try and become that number 1 guy, and him knowing that Alonso's in front of him, like, you gotta let these guys race. You gotta let them race. If you are top 5 in power rankings, your 2 drivers shouldn't be handicaed. If your number 2 is there, I agree. You have to let
and Ocon is aggressive. He's a solid driver, but he's aggressive, so I can see him.
Yes, and nothing against Alonso, man, but to me, his time has passed. You got to get this young kid Ocon up there to the top of the line.
So,
he can do.
So Ocon's not that young anymore, but I think he's always been fast. And he got pushed out of Force India for money reasons. Like, he got booted for Stroll, but he was going. He does not back down. If it's a situation,
his aggressiveness is not him in trouble.
He and Perez, man, butted heads significantly at what was Force India at the time. And he basically got fired because Perez also had money with him.
He's a bit of a prick, let's be honest, but he's aggressive. That's what's gotten him in trouble.
No, but Ocon's actually one of the few people that came. I mean, obviously, like Hamilton as well. There's been a few, but that came into sport with no money, and so he's bounced around a lot because when it's time to fire someone, you don't fire the guy. If Force India just decided to get rid of one of them, it would have been Perez. But Perez brings Carlos Slim's money with him.
Carlos Slim, right? Exactly.
And so he stayed, and then Stroll took the other seat because he bought the team.
Maybe some bad luck.
So
bad luck for Ocon, I guess.
yeah, so I think
way.
he's always been fast, and he was also in the Mercedes program, and then I think everyone at this point expected Hamilton to have retired, not still be like at the front of the grid. Right. So they're like he just constantly just hasn't worked out for him. He is really quick. If they put a good car under him, he can take it to podiums. He won a race last year. Like he's got it. I'm a big fan of Ocon. He just hasn't had the right car under him to really dominate as much as I think he actually can. I think he's really talented.
By the way, if him and Perez was something to watch, if him and Alonso become something, Alonso's not gonna back down. He's gonna get in his face and call him a pussy like Max did to.
I still haven't. I still can't, man. This is. I don't know if any of you guys were watching F1 at the time, but when he ruined Hamilton's championship in Hamilton's rookie year at McLaren, that's why they had to fire him. When he intentionally sat in the pit lane so Hamilton couldn't change tires and blocked him from doing a qualifying lap, I'm like, you got to be kidding me with this.
Unbelievable.
All right, Vish, let's go to your papaya, bro. Your papaya.
I mean, unfortunately, I think this is probably about right. I don't think it's going to be quick enough to compete with the top three, but we'll see. This is going to be a constant thing with McLaren just because, they're not going to design a car around the Mercedes engine that's faster than the Mercedes, and that's going to be a problem. We'll see. I'm interested to see what Ricciardo does, though, because apparently, obviously, we don't drive the cars. Everyone was saying that the old McLaren was very awkward to drive, and it took a long time to get used to.
Yeah, well, Ricciardo said that a lot, right?
Yeah, and
so a hard time with it.
And it was kind of Norris was used to it, obviously because he'd been there several years. Ricciardo was not. Ricciardo did actually win a race last year. Norris was potentially going to when they messed up the pit strategy on the rain.
I remember that. Yeah.
So the car last year was competitive at certain circuits. We'll see. I still think the top three teams that we go to after this, that engine is for that car. There's other teams using it. There's other teams using a Ferrari engine, but they build that engine to fit their car. Same thing with Mercedes. Same thing with Red Bull. Even when it was Honda building it, now it's technically Red Bull badged. They're the team we're building this engine for. Other AlphaTauri will use it. It's for Red Bull. That's a huge disadvantage when you're building a new car.
Right.
Because they would have, as they're designing the Mercedes, the Ferrari, the Red Bull, they know exactly what the engine's going to be, and they're building the whole aero package around it. And then McLaren gets that engine, has to cram it in. So to me, this year is going to be a little bit more difficult. I do think they can catch up eventually. I think the driver lineup is awesome. Ricciardo and Lando is a ridiculous lineup. I think this year might be a struggle, but hopefully over the next few years they'll catch back up.
What do we got next?
Mercedes.
I ain't buying this one.
I don't know, man.
I mean, listen, if this is what we're placed after the championship was, well, let me be grown up here in a sense. After the championship.
Oh, grow up, Manny.
Let's put away turn. And then you have Lewis Hamilton coming out saying that the car is not ready. He doesn't feel right. Listen, it's all strategy. It's going to be fine. The same issues that they're having right now, at some point, every team is going to have it throughout the season. It's totally different dynamics, different bodies of these vehicles with the tires and everything else on the paddocks. It doesn't matter. Now, what I am going to see is the growth development of Russell. Can this young man not become the next Hamilton, but can he take the seat number one once Hamilton's ready to step away? I think that's the main thing that Mercedes wants to figure out and wants to look at. I know that Russell was really looked at by a lot of the other teams. I know that Williams was the only one that gave him an opportunity after he won the F2 championship to go on to F1. And obviously, Jesus, I mean, if me and you or Vish or Jazz guys, if we went to Williams racing our first years and you see the damn crap that it is.
Yeah, but you saw how good he raced with Williams.
Oh, no, but that's the thing.
Well, but here's the...
He was in all the races.
Yeah, but this is a
piece of shit.
This is a different challenge altogether, though. He was very good qualifying on Saturday at Williams, and then he'd go straight backwards. Now, part of that is the car sucks, but he didn't outperform Latifi that consistently in races. And this is a gamble for Mercedes in a way because
But I also feel it's a good one because you need.
This
to
is why
Yeah,
we're number 3.
yeah,
not
but
because of the car.
After Lewis.
Yeah,
You can't
well-
decide that Lewis is going to be there for the next 5 years.
Right, but so this is a team. The one thing Bottas gave you is the constructors because he would put
Yes.
the points in. Like they won the constructors last year because he was more consistent than Perez.
I think he finished like top 5, 12, 13 times.
Yeah,
That's
so
years, so.
you're probably not going to get that as consistently with
No.
Russell.
That's why
now,
you see him at number
now is he
2.
going to challenge Hamilton? Is he going to be on raw pace at times much faster than Bottas was? Probably. So they're betting on that. Like you said, May, they're kind of looking forward to post Hamilton. This is a guy who can actually be the number 1 driver.
Love you,
right?
Freddie. Great point.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But is there going to be an adjustment to? It's one thing to tool around a Williams and try to finish 10th. It's a whole other thing to.
When you're
I got to
up
hold
on
off
big
Perez.
races,
I got to try and get in front of Verstappen and hold him back so Hamilton can get in the lead. All that's it's a different ball game entirely. And so how does he react? Is he able to consistently put those results in? I think the Constructors Championship will be interesting for them. Just if he's, if he has some DNFs, if he makes some mistakes, because Perez is also consistent.
I
But
hope,
yeah,
Gus. That is my
Yeah, no,
is my analogy.
no,
here,
that
Gus.
that's the gamble they're making.
I'm
Absolutely.
hoping, Gus.
They're saying this guy is the number 1 driver 2 or 3 years from now. Let's get him in the team now. Bottas was never going to be the number 1 driver. Bottas was the teammate that was going to score the points so you win the constructors. So they've gone the other route. We'll see what happens with this. I do think they'll struggle this weekend.
Oh yeah, we will.
But
I will be the first one.
but the idea that Mercedes. By the way, the Mercedes was not good at the beginning of last year.
Correct.
By the end of the year, it was the fastest car. Like this is Mercedes.
Should have won.
This car is not whatever it is in Bahrain on Sunday. It's not going to be that 2 weeks from now and a month from now. Like they're going to fix it.
By the way, the driver that I would love to have to be the next Mercedes, but it's not going to happen. Who knows? Drives for this team right here.
Leave him where he is right now, please. Okay?
Carlos
Don't touch
Sainz, man. That
Don't
man
touch-
is just...
my favorite driver. Love Carlos Sainz.
Amen. Same here. A la Madrid.
I'm just gonna say exactly.
This is a Madrid podcast at this point,
isn't it? All right, bro. Truth is here, and I'll kind of say a little something before you guys kind of get going because you guys get more technical than I do. But I think that the most important thing on this for them is going to be Egon, and I call him Egon because he looks like Egon Benotti. I just think that it's going to be important to see how he manages this team the whole entire season. Okay, because he's already come out and said that there's not going to be a 1 or a 2, right? They're going to be both even. Okay, there's not going to be any of that. Well, who's going to be number 1? Who's going to be number 2? I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to certain positioning, certain points, and in certain races that they're going to have to do something. But starting off in Bahrain, listen, Ferrari always had really good luck in Bahrain, right? The last 3 or 4 years, you've got Vettel, you've got all these guys that have kind of hit the podium in this race. So obviously, I think it's going to be a strong start for them this week. I'm excited to see what they do moving forward. They've got, a new design on the car as everybody else does. But like you said, I think it's going to be about their power unit more than anything else, especially for Ferrari. You saw them struggle with it last year and maybe a little bit the year before as well. It's a new power unit. Benotti's going to have to really be able to manage this team properly. A lot of people are talking about Leclerc, but my favorite guy is Sainz. I love Carlos Sainz. I think he's going to have a big year this year. We'll get into it when we're talking about bold predictions, but for me, it's about being able to manage these 2 drivers from the top down.
No, it's a great 1-2 punch though. I think when you look at all the teams down the lineup, when you look at Sainz and Leclerc, and you see their growth, and you see the way that Sainz has just progressed every single year. It gives this team something of a 1-2 punch in my, fair thing. And I know we're not in.
By the way, Leclerc wins Bahrain 2 years ago. If his
and now he's in a Ferrari again. So
right.
it could be, yeah, you're right. It could be there. So, and in all honesty though, Ferrari was the one team that I heard all throughout pre-testing that it was wow, it was amazing. So for them to be number 2, I mean, I get it, right? I mean, the champions are number 1, but it's just a shocker.
So the one thing I would say on it, they can say there's no number 1 driver. Each driver has its own style. They built a new car.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if it doesn't fit Leclerc's driving style more than Sainz. Like
but they both tested well. They've tested really well.
Yeah, well, because Sainz is really good and is just perpetually underrated.
Great point. Sainz is a really good driver. Leclerc is probably the more, I guess you can say the more talented driver.
I think he's raw pace,
quick foot.
I think last year was a good example of this. So I think if you just took a snapshot of who was driving the car faster, it's probably Leclerc.
Right.
Sainz finished ahead of him, and that's because Sainz is just really good all the time. He doesn't take the pole at Monaco and then wreck his car so he can't actually run the race, right? That's not Sainz not going to do that.
No.
So
Sainz can be last to begin the race and be in the top 5 by the end.
Yeah, no, he's just a
Leclerc
really good
will get you
driver.
up there close, and he'll be consistent.
Leclerc will lead the race for 40 laps, and then
somehow correct, and then Sainz will just be right there after finishing last because he's just an overall better driver.
So he's just
if they can
consistent.
kind of like meet in the middle and be really consistent both. I mean, this is an opportunity for them to finish in the top 2 or 3 in the constructors for sure.
When was the last Ferrari win overall?
Not podium win.
Leclerc's won races.
No, well, when I say
I don't think last year though.
Not last year, but I think the championship.
It's been a while, right?
It was Schumacher, right? They haven't won anything. Oh, Raikkonen won that one where that was the one where Alonso blocked Hamilton and like ruined his title, and McLaren won the constructors, but they both finished a point behind Raikkonen. Raikkonen did win the title in a Ferrari.
Hey, Jazz, on a true question, what are you gonna do when Porsche comes in, man?
Yeah, I know. Don't even start. Don't even start with me with that, bro. If Porsche comes in, I'm screwed. Unless like Leclerc or Sainz moves over there, then I'll be okay. I'll feel better.
Damn, 2008.
It was 2007, I think. Hamilton won 2008. I think it was 2007.
2007. There you go, Miami Phil. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Let's go ahead to the defending champions. None of us drink Red Bull. Monster's better.
Monster sponsors Hamilton. This guy has just got one agenda, and he's just gonna keep pushing it and pushing it.
I see what you did there. I like it. Oh man. All right. Nobody cares. Next.
Nobody cares. Money's not here.
Look, at the end of the day, they have the best driver, right? In the whole entire thing.
No.
So, I mean.
No, they don't. Hamilton's the best driver.
You're right.
Hamilton's the best driver ever.
You're right. Max is the fastest driver.
I think Max's car was better last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's faster. But obviously we're splitting hairs. Like Max is outstanding, so it's not a knock on Max. Hamilton's the best driver I've ever seen.
Excuse me from
That's fine, man. I'll own that comment. Hamilton's the best driver I've ever seen, and it's not even close.
Yeah, he is. But
you ask him to do something, he does it.
You still think he is right now?
Yes.
Right now?
Yeah. If I pick one driver right now for the season, absent like picking the car, obviously, I'm taking Hamilton.
Yeah.
Last year, the car was not faster than the Red Bull, and absent what we've spent way too much time on already, he wins in a slower car.
True, and he said it himself. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is not a knock on Max, who's awesome. We're talking about. I think one of the things that let's forget. Let's forget like how last season ended. One of the things I was really excited throughout the year is you had these two amazing drivers on the top of their games, just hitting each other. It's like a heavyweight fight, hitting each other back and forth.
Right.
But I felt like absent again. What happened at the end? Lewis won that fight. That's why I pick him. But. And I also feel like he can do more things in the car. Like if you need someone to manage the tires for 40 laps, he'll do it. If you need someone to push and put in 5 qualifying laps, he does it. I think his driving style is more mature at this point, which it better be because he's old as shit. So it should be more mature. We forget how young Max is. Like I mean, he's still very young. Like we could be looking at 10 years from now the all-time great. Like, that's, like, not outside the realm of possibility. But right now, if I'm taking one guy this year, it's Hamilton.
Listen, I will never bet anything against my guy Hamilton, man. But I think we've seen enough of Max Verstappen for a couple of years to probably say he will be the face of Formula One.
Oh, no, for sure. This is Hamilton is at the end, right? But
what sucks is that I had a dream the other day that Max actually signed with Mercedes, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
We'll see. Let's see what this car does.
I don't know, Max. Listen, I just
Bro,
want to
bro,
punch
to have a
Max in the
Dutch,
fucking face,
to have a
right?
Dutch drive a German vehicle, I will be absolutely shocked. I'll be shocked. But
How about how about this? I
He's
just want to
Belgian, man. He was born in Belgium.
listen. Can we all agree that we kind of want to punch Max in the fucking face every once in a while?
I love his demeanor, though.
I don't have a problem with him being like. I really like him. I just think Hamilton's a better driver. I got nothing. I can't agree with that, Jazz. Sorry.
I don't know. All right. Well, I think he's a prick. I think he's a
Max
prick.
doesn't do a shout. He looks at you and calls you a pussy. That's what's up.
That's fine, man. I'm from Miami. That's how we act. How can I criticize on someone else? I will say the interesting with this is that if you haven't been following Formula One forever, Red Bull's designer Adrian Newey is a genius. Like the McLarens that used to win, he designed them. Then he went to Red Bull and designed all their winning cars. Like I am really fat, but the one
yes. It does. I gotta agree.
The one thing with Adrian Newey is he will push the aero to the extreme and then another step. Often when he rolls out his new cars, there's reliability issues. I'm curious to see if this thing breaks down. And how reliable it is, the Red Bull. Because I guarantee you his whole thing is, I'm going to extract as much downforce as I can out of this car to the extent that no one else is even able to keep up with it. And then I'll take it another 2 steps and see if the thing breaks. And so I'm curious what the reliability will be on the Red Bull.
That's going to be interesting this whole entire year to see if that's how it shapes out. So speaking of that, I guess we should probably wrap it up here with some bold predictions. We've gone an hour. This is unbelievable. Pretty exciting. And we've still got people in the chat talking it up, so we appreciate it. By the way, make sure you go subscribe and smash the like button on the show and on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, and keep it locked here. We'll do this every week, every Wednesday night, and hopefully maybe we can get a little post race action as well on Sundays. And we'll kind of keep you guys posted on that. Bold predictions, guys. I want to hear 3 of them, right? I want to hear Bahrain, maybe not so bold, but just kind of what your take is. Constructors, and just who at the end of the day is your top 3 drivers for the whole season as well. Whoever wants to go first. Manny, go ahead.
Go first, Fish.
All right, so
I want to hear who you pick.
Well, okay, all right. For Bahrain, I think Max will win the race, and I think the 2 Ferraris will podium behind him. I'll go Sainz second and Leclerc third.
I'm gonna say Sainz first, Max second, third Hamilton.
Yeah, I think I like Leclerc and Sainz both to podium. And Max, I'm kind of with Vish as well, but I'm going to flip it on him, and I'm going to say that Sainz is at the top with Max second and Leclerc third.
So you both picked Sainz to win this race.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
You know what? Just for the sake of argument.
Momentum.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's fine. I'm a big fan of Sainz. I've been clear on that. But
Momentum is a very powerful thing.
For the sake of argument,
very powerful.
I'll flip it, Manny. For the sake of argument, I'll go Leclerc first and Sainz third.
Does anyone write this down? And we haven't really planned the show. We writing this down.
It's the podium too, regardless.
I'll write it down here.
Are we gonna know? We're gonna be like, what did we pick last week? I don't even remember anymore.
Vish, what did you take? Max and then
then Max, Sainz, then Leclerc. Yeah.
All right. And I got what Manny put already, so that's fine. What about constructors? What do you think for the whole year? What do you think ends up on top?
Mercedes.
I'm with my man. Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes.
I want to say Ferrari, but no.
You know what?
Something about Leclerc might be a little too inconsistent for me, and it's worrisome. So no.
I just can't choose the same thing, because if not, I would have chosen the same thing. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
I mean, for the year prediction, too. If you think it's Mercedes, say we don't need to be.
You know what? No, I'm gonna do a bold prediction. I think Ferrari takes the constructors. With Red Bull and then Mercedes at 3. It's just bold. It's a bold prediction, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Leave me alone. And by the way,
I'm a Ferrari fan. That's a bold prediction.
Yeah, right. Super bold.
Change mine to McLaren.
Do it, bitch.
There's no way, man. I would need like 100 to 1 odds to do that. Like the top 3 teams are disqualified for cheating for the season. Then I'm right in there.
Vish says McLaren to win it all.
All right, fine, man. Go down with the ship. All right, that's cool.
But who is number 4, Fernie? McLaren, obviously.
Yeah, I go McLaren. Yeah, come on, it's McLaren.
Bold
That's
statement.
just
Bold
that's
statement
what.
of the year. I think in the top 5. I think Gasly's going to finish in the top 5
Oh,
in points.
that's a good prediction.
I like him, man. I think he's talented.
That's a good prediction.
Gasly.
All right, I'll turn that one around and I'll say Tsunoda will finish ahead of him.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
Sonoda. All right, let's do it. What do you got, Manny? Who's your top 5 bold prediction?
Ocon.
Ocon? He's
I know.
good, man.
I know. Hey, I'm
He's
going
a
on
good
the
driver,
box.
man.
That's not a bad bet,
That's not a
man.
bad-
Because we'll
that's
see what the
not-
Alpine's got in there. That was a good one. That was a good one.
I'm going a little bit out of the box.
It is.
Maybe he finally tells Alonso.
So Alex is asking who's the best of the rest. What spot are we talking in?
The best of the rest.
8, 9, 10.
We're talking about like outside of Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes.
We know
Oh,
that
okay.
Williams
Or-
is in the back end already. So
Out of like those top 4, I think
Madison.
I mean, the Haas is looking okay. Like it's not looking that bad. Like
Until they forget to change the tire, right?
I mean, look, man. Maybe the new tires will be so durable they don't got a pit stop.
they're gonna worry about so much.
when they forget a pin or a bolt, then they're screwed, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like that Yuki. That was good on your part, Vish. But best of the rest, Jesus, aside from those people, I like AlphaTauri. I think AlphaTauri has a good lineup. I think their drivers are good.
I mean, are we excluding McLaren from this conversation?
Yeah,
or this
they're
rest?
the top 4, I think. I mean, and listen, McLaren, if they race well, if both of those guys race well, they can make some noise and challenge for the top 3. I really do think so. I like
It's
McLaren.
hard when you're buying someone else's engine.
I know, but I like them, man. I think they've got good drivers.
Okay, so outside of McLaren, let's say McLaren, we're just gonna assume they're 4th. Who do you got 5th? Because that's where it gets. You got AlphaTauri there.
Yes, I'm gonna be with Jazz on that because I think these 2 young drivers are gonna actually.
I'll go with Alpine.
They're gonna go
Okay.
Alpine,
as 5th. Yeah.
Alonso, and Ocon.
They're talented too. That's true. Yeah.
I also think we're developing new cars. I take Alonso, that dickhead, to do that.
Let me tell you, Alonso's a hell of a driver, man.
I know he's just
He's just a dick. Yeah.
yeah. That's how he's still in F1. Everyone's like, this guy's a dick, but man, get him behind the wheel.
Right. Put him in a Mercedes.
There we go, Oscar, my man.
Put Alonso in a Mercedes, and he's gonna kick ass. So I get it.
Nah, rookie Hamilton schooled his ass and he had to quit McLaren. That's what happened to him.
I still think he's.
There's a pecking order here, man. No, Hamilton showed up as a rookie and beat him in the same McLaren,
Right.
and that's why he had to leave and went back to Renault. So I don't think he's beaten this Hamilton.
No, I don't think anybody. I honestly, like you said, I don't think anybody's beating this.
I think it would be. I mean, obviously, it'll never happen. Him and Max in the same car would be fascinating. Because even last year, they both were in fast cars, but they were different. They were fast at different tracks. It was very rare that they both were fast at the same track where they could really go for it. When they did, they ran into each other. But if you actually had them in the same car, it would be fascinating to see. I think Max. I mean, I like I said, I think Hamilton's a better driver, but that's the only person that could really compete with him in the same car. Watch Russell finish ahead of him this season because I said that. But.
Oh man.
Listen, if that happens,
There's a bold prediction that I am not making.
Mercedes, hey, Toto, you got your guy, bro. You good hands.
Oh man, that would be awesome. All right, guys. I think it's a wrap.
Are we
Successful.
doing our top drivers?
We never even picked the Drivers' Championship, dude.
I thought we did. Oh, my bad. I thought we did. My bad.
No, we did Bahrain, and then we did Constructors, and then we never did the Drivers.
Okay, so I'll go my top 3. I'll start this time. I think it's going to be Hamilton.
Ferrari. We don't.
Hamilton.
Okay, let's go.
It's going to be It's going to be Sainz, Leclerc, and whoever they're no, I'm just kidding.
The reserve Luca Bador.
Look at the door.
That's a throwback reference if people were watching F1 a long time ago.
That's terrible. Now I'm going to go Hamilton, Verstappen, and I think Sainz ends up in the top 3.
Vish, go first.
I mean, it's Hamilton and Verstappen. It got to be 1, 2, right? So then we're talking about 3.
Mm-hmm.
I can't copy Jazz. All right, so Leclerc then.
Now you can't do it, Manny. Now you can't talk Ferrari.
Oh man, god damn you guys! Listen, you guys know this, and Oscar,
You know what? I'll switch it. I'll put Lando third. I'll throw my guy in
There
there.
you go. There you go. Now,
There you
listen, I am going to stick with Carlos Sainz in there as number 1. Hamilton 2, Max 3.
Wow.
You have
that's
Sainz
bold.
winning the Drivers' Championship.
I
like
have
it.
Carlos Sainz creating the inevitable.
Gus is correct. It's Lewis Max Field, but you went Field. From
Wait, are we
top.
talking?
Listen, I have this.
We're talking
feeling
about Coach
Carlos
Fields from
Sainz,
the
man.
Hurricane?
Listen, I told Jazz this like on Sunday. Like to me, Carlos Sainz is that one guy that's gonna all of a sudden put everything together and compete for it. Now,
I just think he's
would you
consistent.
guys feel better if I say Hamilton, Max, and Carlos Sainz? Then one, two,
No,
three, like
No,
that?
I'm good with you picking whoever. Yeah, I'm good with you picking whatever you want.
Listen,
I forgot that this was a bold
I've never picked
prediction.
my
Yeah.
team to win it. I've always picked other drivers of other teams to win it because I don't want to be that type of fan. I look at things from a broader aspect. I see how things have been going, and from a preseason prediction, I mean, there's a reason why Ferrari's in top 3 pre-rankings,
Yeah.
right? There's a reason for that. Sorry, Leclerc, not you, but it's Carlos Sainz. That's the way it is.
I will say the F1 consensus is that Leclerc is a better driver. We're Sainz fans on this podcast, on this show, but
We've
We
seen
are.
enough
We are
races, man, where we can put our money on Sainz. Not saying that Leclerc can't become one, but we know what Sainz can bring, man. It's not because his daddy once did it. This man's proven himself.
If Leclerc figures it all out, he's definitely the better driver, 100%.
But who knows? Maybe if Leclerc does great, that pushes Carlos, or maybe that makes Carlos kind of nervous for
You know what's even better about all of this? We're Madrid fans, a la Madrid. That's right. Hey, thank you everybody for joining.
Jazz,
the
I
show.
should warn you. Pretend the baseball team didn't play tonight. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's fine.
It's that bad. It's not even over yet, but it's
you guys
over.
think it's that bad? FIU baseball has lost 9 in a row, so take that one.
So
Yeah,
all I'll say is it
We
was
paid
1
Jeff
to 1.
Allnight for nothing.
Jazz, I'll just tell you this: it was 1 to 1. We went to Rosario out of the pen. It was no longer 1 to 1.
Anyway, we didn't know that was going to happen.
There's double digits on one of the team scores.
Unbelievable. Anyways, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining the show, people. Thanks for all the fans that were able to come out and support and watch the show.
Logo coming soon.
Yes, the logo should be ready to go. Hopefully this weekend it's going to be fresh. Our boys at Parks and Rec are working on it as we speak, so big shout out to them for that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at F1_5 reasons. You'll see it there on the marquee as it's scrolling over. Make sure you follow us there. It's hitting the apex, or search at F1_5 reasons. Smash the like button. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel, and make sure you tune in and keep it locked every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. as we will go over the previous weekend's race and a look ahead a little bit, and then just keep talking shit. Twitterless Tony and Moni will be on the show next Wednesday as well.
Nazi's a bitch.
And a la Madrid again. Let's ride, baby. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining and watching Hitting the Apex. Take it easy.